Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ESL ESEA Pro League. Things have been heating up recently with some crazy stuff unfolding just yesterday. Me and Lauren got to dissect that action. However, Lauren has transformed into a tall Australian. I'm joined by Mitch Ubershouts Leslie. This is your first time at the desk for CS. You've definitely played a whole lot of CS, but this is your first time getting to show everyone what you like to talk about.
Well, in Europe anyway. I mean, I obviously was covering it in Australia, doing all our Aussie CS now. Now we're seeing teams like Renegades and Immunity come out of that scene. So something I'm definitely familiar with now, and I'm excited to dive into some of the EU stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the EU stuff you may have missed yesterday, we're going to have to show you guys at home as well as just see it for ourselves again. We saw Nico go absolutely insane over on Cash. Didn't quite help his team go all the way, though. I mean, we saw them kind of having some bumps along the way. Titan making it clear that they are a team to be reckoned with over on Cash. And he played, I mean, he played out of his mind. Did you catch the clip?
He did. Well, I did see the clip and the game as well. It was great stuff from Nico as well. This 5K is just bonkers.
Just ripping through them. I lost like a good few brain cells after this play. I completely forgot how to speak English and picking up 5. A 1v5 with just a pistol, it was truly insane. And I mean, Titan, all that did was ignite kind of the fire in the eyes of Scream, because he kind of did exactly the same thing back. I
mean, and Mousesports only got one more round in that game after that. It's a shame that they couldn't use that to propel themselves forward, but they were held very nicely by Titan for the rest of that game. Yeah,
I think it was really an up and down game for Scream as well, because for myself and for Lauren, we were both like, oh, this is awesome. Scream's back in Titan. What's he going to do? Always kind of eyes on Scream, which is understandable when you have someone who can pull off, you know, I mean, things like this. I mean, he went absolutely crazy. A 1 vs 4 with his team on match point. He did go crazy, of course, earlier on Cash, which was what I was hinting at. But this is just another indication of what he is capable at any point during the game.
Absolutely. That propelled Titan to a couple more rounds in that one. Obviously, they actually lost that.
Yeah, making it respectable, I guess.
Yeah, their second matchup against Mousesports for the night as well. It was a long night for Titan, actually, I won't lie. But yeah, Maniac out, and of course, with Scream in now. It's interesting to see how Titan is starting to adjust, but this is just a beautiful clip, the way he maneuvers his way around the map and clutches it out.
Yeah, and even, I mean, that pre-aim onto God B, everything suggested God B would be able to wrap that one up. Yeah. But not to no avail for Scream. But if you did miss it, guys, let's just recap the results as well, not just the highlights. What you may have missed was Dignitas up against NaVi. That was our first game, and that one was a tooth and nail battle for both of them.
Dignitas is starting to find some form now as well. Well, I mean, more form, I guess you could say. Schneider obviously being in the lineup. AZ had a fantastic game. It's good to see those two start to really fire together. And NaVi's Inferno in recent times has been a little bit lackluster. I think they're 2-9 on Inferno in recent games, that one included. So, you know, they came close, but definitely wasn't their strongest showing. The Danes getting through.
Yeah, I mean, it was 40 from AZ, I think, at the end of that, above 40. That was truly a crazy game for him. Moving on, though, we did have the Germans battling the French over on Cash. It was Mouse and Titan. And other than that kind of highlight clip from Nico, we didn't see an astounding CT side from Mouse.
No, you see, Chris J was struggling to make an impact when he picked up the AWP as well, especially into double AWP setups coming out from Titan. They shut him down quite well. I think Titan looked quite well-rounded in that game, especially compared to the rest of their ones that night.
Yeah, and then Titan had to continue. You said they played a whole lot of CS. They most definitely did. They took I'm going to say stomping against Fnatic. We really didn't see them be given a chance to flourish at all over on Overpass with an astounding T-side from Fnatic.
7-0 at one point for Fnatic as well. Titan managed to, you know, grind a few rounds out, and they were throwing themselves really aggressively into Fnatic, but we saw some really classic CS from Fnatic. Of course, with JW just floating between A and B so effortlessly as well. He was a massive force in that one.
Yeah, and then Revenge was sweet for Mouse in the end over on Mirage. We saw what Scream could do right at the end, but it wasn't enough for Titan to secure that victory. But let's have a look at how those games affected the standings here in the Pro League. Fnatic still sitting righteously on top. They have played more games than most, other than you can see Titan there on the 6th mark, but sitting on 21 points, they're quite happy. And below them, there's a couple of surprises. It's great to see Dignitas holding a top 3 spot at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, 2nd through 4th is all locked up, 15 points each, all those teams having played 7 games. And as you said, Dignitas, they're in the mix. This is really good to see from them as well. I mean, seeing some interesting scenarios this season where some teams up higher than some may have projected, some a bit lower. But that from 1st through 5th, maybe even 6th, but more so 1st through 5th is looking really, really competitive right now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good as well that we have that lower echelon of the table. You see Titan there just breaching that top 6, starting to find a little bit of form, and they're going to have to continue to do so into today's games. Teams like Virtus.pro, though, still yet to really make an impact in that kind of top half of the table, sitting on a measly 9th place. Of course, they have only played 5 games in contrast to the others, but this is still the start, and I think that's something I always have to point out at the Pro League. Already we are, 6 weeks in, and these results are going to start costing you, but we saw some crazy comebacks. Hellraisers were from like the bottom of the table to just narrowly not qualifying for the offlines. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, of course, with Virtus.pro, they've been in Australia as well. They haven't been able to play too many of their games. They were at the Crown Invitational over the weekend. And PENTA Sports are yet to play a game yet in the Pro League until tonight.
Until tonight, indeed. This has been a long time coming for Penta, so looking forward to bringing you those games. We've got them finally cobbling together a new roster, getting Spiddy from the old Mouse Sports and Tarsin as well, which actually, the first words out of your mouth when we were talking about this was like, he's nuts. I
really like him, of course. He's one of the top players from Killerfish. Yeah. Was a huge force in them. If you do watch the Meisterschaft or the German Championships, you see Tarsin often really a driving force behind Killerfish. Killerfish being an incredibly competitive team there. So, of course, Penta not having played gave them some time. I think we did at least to sort of cobble their roster together and sort of make it work. With Spiddy and Tarsin in the mix now, it'll be interesting to see how things go. There'll be an adjustment period, as there often is for a lot of these teams, but you really can't turn your nose up at those 2 additions to the roster.
Yeah, so I mean, 4 games as well. Didn't quite highlight what's coming up today. It has been on your screen, so if you have just joined us and you're wondering what do I have to look forward to, we do, of course, start with the PENTA NaVi game. We'll be talking about that in more details in just a second. First, I want to remind you, though, we're going to be seeing Titan again, their 4th game in 2 days in just the Pro League. I think they've been playing more parallel to that as well, so there's a whole lot of CS for those boys up against NaVi in our 2nd game. NV versus NaVi our 3rd, and then the Score Esports Hot Match of the Week, Fnatic Envy. We have got quite a delight for today.
Absolutely, of course. We saw these 2 teams go head to head in our finals at ESL 1 Cologne. Things have changed since then as well, and some shadows have been cast over Fnatic. Some of their recent performances as well. They are playing a lot as well. I mean, Envy and Fnatic actually played last night as well, not in the Pro League as well, and that was an interesting result. We'll get onto that a little bit later on.
You bite your tongue. Yeah, you bite your tongue because we have to talk about the game in hand. Penta going up against NaVi. Penta going up against NaVi on Cash. I was about to say Overpass. Penta going up with them against a team that I always feel like Navi have a cash. They have a cash game, and sometimes it shows itself. But you were looking at stats, and their cash is not as inspiring as you may have expected.
Well, they generally don't prefer to play it that much, actually. If they can avoid playing cash, it seems like that's kind of the way it goes. Since August, they've played twice, I think, in competitive online games. Once against Virtus.pro, which they lost to 16-11, and once against SK, which they actually did win 16-11. So, I mean, yeah, it's really hard to say how to read into this one between these 2 teams. Penta obviously now not having seen a ton from them as well, but this, I would not say this is a go-to map for NaVi at all.
I mean, that's always been so very clear. Like in tournaments, it's always the one that they're going to be taking out of the running. That whenever I actually cast my mind back to when there was a video of their comms. I think it was Guardian streaming a game on Cash, and it was so clear that it wasn't NaVi playing NaVi's game, it was NaVi on Cash, where they seem to have no idea where to structure their play. And I can kind of see a little bit of a scenario developing where this is actually, excuse me, I'm losing my ability to speak. This is actually the opportunity where Penta could start and hit the ground running. Like, they could actually take a map off of a kind of top 5 team in the Pro League straight off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Penta played recently. Yesterday they played against CSGO Lounge actually and got crushed. So wasn't pretty at all for them. So they're still working it together. I mean, this is not a phenomenal map for NaVi, as we said, but that doesn't necessarily mean this is going to be a strong one for Penta. Yeah. Gonna be one of NaVi's probably easier, ostensibly matchups that we've seen this far in the Pro League. So yeah, it's hard to call, especially this is Penta's first showing in our Pro League. Who knows what we're going to expect here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got eyes on the prize at the moment. We are just waiting for one member of Penta to jump on in the server before we do bring you that game. Couple of extra points I think we can make is that not only is this the first showing for Penta, we are seeing Spiddy under a new flag, and I always find interest in this. When a player who has, like, for lack of a better word, been kicked or removed from a team in place of someone else, I can see no way in which that doesn't affect you in some way, in your play style, in something. Like, how do you go from being unwanted to a roster to being like another roster's kind of second choice?
It's very much a back and forth thing, because Spiddy himself has been in Penta before, actually. He was in Penta, then Mouse Sports, then back into Penta.
And forth we go.
I don't even know how that affects you, but bear in mind that Penta, the reason why they made their changes is because they failed to qualify for the DreamHatch Cluj major. both qualifiers, they lost to LDLC Blue and then Copenhagen Wolves. So they had to make a change now. As the knife round goes out, it's time to see if Penta have made enough of a change.
All right then, here we go. Kicking off with our first game of tonight's ESL ESEA Pro League. Penta making their debut, for us at least. And it does look like they've started as they mean to go on, cutting people down, cutting NaVi down to size, and they're going to have their choice of side coming into their game on Cash. I do expect them to take over to the defensive side, and they are going to put NaVi in the boots of the terrorists to start this one off.
I'm looking forward to see as the rounds develop. Now, with Guardian having a bit more freedom than he had last night, you could see he was struggling a little bit to really make an impact. Cash, as you guys say in Europe,
hey,
a little bit of a different story.
I think we should allow you to call it Cash. That's the Australian way. Sponge gets away with it. I think you're allowed.
Sponge can get away with anything. Have you seen his hair?
Yeah, that is, it's a surfer look, and, and I don't think he's particularly a big surfer. But either way, I think it's time for us to jump into our first round. Mitch, why don't you take us away?
All right, we armor on Tabson and Tarsin here. A couple of nades in the mix for Penta, and Guardian has a brace of them as well with armor on the rest of NaVi. Looks like Bomb slowly being ferried towards this A site here with C's just holding back in the middle. He will have some company in a moment, no doubt. Smoke up in front of A main as well, and NaVi just taking their time. They work through A long, they work through that squeaky onto this A site, and it will just be Spitty now as the smoke comes down. Yes, Penta will be alerted to this one. It is opened up. Spitty on towards Zeus now. NaVi, will they push out? This looks like they want to go in towards this one now. Spitty just behind the forklift. All he do is Flamey is already on that side, trying to work towards Highway, but Tabson with a lovely little double there. What? Spitty as well taking NaVi down to one player. Guardian just trying to spam with the Glock out from A main. He's just going to have to back away of this one. Yeah, I mean, Spitty making that kind of risk-reward kind of glass cannon 5-7, if for lack of a better word, just opting away from the Kevlar, picking up that pistol and finding two off the back of that one. Felt like NaVi were kind of just aimlessly throwing themselves in. There was no kind of, often we see a Molotov invested if you are going to go for an all-in A play just to clear that kind of NBK corner, even just towards quad. No such luck. And actually now Guardian, with 30 seconds left, is just going to go ahead and just, I mean, what's his plan here? Get caught through the door. It was Crystal who found him. And that's going to be a very, very convincing start for Penta. Not only picking them all up, but not losing a single man. And that's going to put good kind of cash in their pockets. And I'm intrigued to see how many SMGs they do pick up, considering they know that NaVi are not going to be that well geared. In fact, NaVi's still going to be putting some armor on towards their side, trying to force something and try and keep Penta on their toes. Yeah, it does look like at the very least armor for most of those, except Zeus with the Tech 9, and of course Penta with a bit of a buy-up. UMP for Strux here as well. Tabson with a great round last round, holding just a really good steel nerve with that USP from Highway to stop NaVi. But let's see if Penta now can start to gain some momentum here. Does look like a little bit of a set play towards A. You can see C's just lining up this smoke here. He's going to send that one in, and Edward is already set up in A main. Smoke does obscure him from Spitty at the moment, but he'll be lying in wait for NaVi to again pour out onto the A side. Smoke again, just from Penta trying to delay them. They've got plenty more where that came from, and NaVi are happy to wait. No nades really to force this push. They have two smokes to implement, and we know already from experience that Penta are going to immediately start rotating as those smokes do get invested. They still have the two players there. Actually, that goes one smoke number one. In fact, smoke number two was released at the same time, so this is it for NaVi. Starting to make the call, and actually his blood is drawn by Zeus. That's a start. Rotate coming in from Tarsin and Strux, but it comes down to Spitty. That's right, Spitty now trying to hold up from Rafters. He does get on towards Edward. Yes, another one to seize, but from Squeaky, Flamey's able to pick it up in response. Crystal now just going to round the corner to pick him up. Guardian tried to flex through mid. He stayed in mid for most of that round, hoping to shut down, at Tabson sort of hold with whatever he was doing like in the first round. But he will still drop again at the end of it. Penta with two on the trot here, and Spitty looking sharp. Very much so, and you can see the contrast there being highlighted that they did manage to take 3 weapons away during that round, so NaVi definitely not too much loss from that one. One better could have been getting the bomb down, but they're going to be very happy with that one, keeping their foot on Penta's economy, and you can see evidence of that there. Look at Crystal down to a Deagle, Spitty on the 5-7 as well, and they're convinced they can shred through them with just this pistol in hand. Spitty actually goes aggressive on the offensive, it cost him a whole lot of health. Forced to back away. Kind of lucky to be alive at this point. Yeah, Guardian avoiding the nade that they actually threw to cover his tracks now. So Penta a little bit battered after that first engagement. Spitty trying to get some value out of that pistol, but not going to happen as Guardian gets a nice little shot towards him now. Tabson on red. He can just poke around the corner. He does see the head of Zeus. So Penta, no. Cat's out the bag by now as the Molotov coming over from Crystal to try and slow this one up.
We are going to be seeing tabseN just continue to lay down a little bit of fire. These are unarmored Ts. They are going to be taking a battering if any kind of Molotov or nade does connect. So far, so good, though, for NaVi. Not taking too much. I spoke too soon. Guardian is going to be down and out. Strux follows as well, as it is just going to be a case of hitting a bit of a blue brick wall. Edward through highway doesn't last much longer. And it's just going to be a case of whether or not C's and his team sold the fake well enough. Not going to happen. He ran all the way from A main back to B in the hope that the full rotate had come out from Penta. But no bomb was spotted, and tarzan held his ground. 3 then on the board for Penta to start this one off, and now it's rifle time for NaVi.
NaVi poking and prodding those first few rounds, hoping to sneak some sort of low economy round through. It's not going to be the case, though, as they find themselves at a deficit. But here, the proof's going to be in the pudding here, Alex, now as the fire round does come out. Guardian with the AWP, no armor.
tabseN had money for a rifle. He had money for a rifle. He has opted voluntarily to take that Mag 7, and that intrigues me. Keep an eye on him as the round does progress, but we are going to be seeing an AWP on either side. Crystal fires off a fast shot while his vision is obscured by the flash, and Guardian does just what Guardian does best, clears out middle with a shot to tabseN. And now Penta have to operate at disadvantage.
Give Guardian an inch and he'll take a mile, or at least the head of his opponent player now. As Spitty wants to flash himself through A main. No, considers to turn back and looking towards Squeaky, but flamey's far too fast on that shot. And now look at this, Penta down to 2, forced to make rotations. Crystal wants a shot on towards A. It's going to be a lot of smoke from to deal with now. Not a great weapon to be trying to fight off 4 players at close range. Not at least NaVi. And Guardian takes his head clean off.
Yeah, and where has Penta gone? They have been kind of ripped apart in this round. Just 16 points of health now for tarzan to work with, and it looks like Edward's going to be the one to try and take that away. He's going to do just that. Finds his head. A little bit of overkill as NaVi do pick up their first real option, a kind of ideal round off the back of that pistol. So, first 3 for Penta. Let's see if they can not fall foul to a similar fate that Titan fell into, where they got the first 3 and then continue to have a real struggle up against Mousesport's T side just yesterday.
Yeah, this is a really clean. That was a really clean round from NaVi, to be honest, with the first buy. Still having 3 left at the end. So let's see if they can continue to build up some momentum here now as Penta, of course. A couple deagles there. tabseN. tarzan has one as well. 5-7 for Spitty. Not really buying too much in terms of utility or nades. tabseN does have armor. Let's see if it's going to pay off from now. As the bomb not yet being picked up. So NaVi want to soften up Penta before they try and go for a sight here.
I've just realised we're going to be struggling with tabseN and tarzan, aren't we? Yep. We definitely are. That H looks dangerously like a B already. Anyway, you're right. They are just looking to soften them up. I like that analogy. It's just going to be a question of what's going to be given to them, I think, more than what they can find. And Penta looking to just hold their ground. Holding the right angle. Spitty, oh, they have no idea. There should be a frag and a rifle. tarzan, in the meantime, did the same with his deagle. All of a sudden, flamey's just made himself known as well. This actually is going the way of Penta at this point, and that is a disaster, especially if they can get both of those weapons back in their hands. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Zeus does level the numbers, and straight back Spitty bites with his AK. And now just Guardian and flamey. What has happened in this round?
So he's not able to find his third. The trades over the bomb sites as well. We haven't seen all of them, but NaVi actually find themselves at a deficit here. Hasn't worked out at A as well. The 5-7 positioning, I think it was from Spitty, was very, very good up on that boost spot now. NaVi's able to, so flamey's able to take out Spitty, should I say, and we have a 2v2. All 4 players are at this A site now, and the bomb slowly being carried through our main. Yeah,
the rifles were taken away, though, so they are just down to a P250 and a USP, respectively. That is a big blow to Penta, and actually it all comes down to Crystal. Oh my god, he's done good damage! Takes the AWP and the bomb away! That's huge! He can't quite recover the weapon, but enough has been done. In fact, he does steal away the AWP, and it comes down to 1v1. Crystal has his favorite weapon, and he's going to be hunted down like a dog. He's not ready for this. flamey, just doing what flamey does best. 3 very crucial rounds, frags rather, goes into kind of damage control mode as NaVi very, very narrowly could have lost out on that one.
Crystal succumbs to the temptation of picking up the AWP, and he's caught reloading it before the fight even happens.
Time expired. I didn't catch it. Penta won the round. What? Oh my god, I didn't even look at the clock.
Well, I don't know, shall we just move on?
Let's brush over that one. 4-1, Penta picking it up. Crystal was playing the waiting game, and we need to wake up a little bit.
Well, Molotov now to deny Guardian that position in mid. You can do a lot of damage from there, and you can see tabseN, I think it was, just rotating towards A slowly. Haven't seen a lot of NaVi yet in this round if you're Penta, so you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. The door opens at Squeaky there. Still in mid, might also add his strength towards his A site now, but NaVi haven't really shown a great proclivity in this round for pushing through that A. Bomb's still held back in mid. They're just taking their time, bit by bit.
Yeah, it's just kind of a question of clearing out that middle area for Guardian. He's been kind of relatively confident so far. And talking of confident, you can see, look at this stack. 3 members of Penta rather deep on towards the side. No one from Truck, and Crystal is going to be watching his teammate fall. Tabson down and out thanks to Edwards and his Deagle. And NaVi, they are rocking 2 pistols as well, so I think Penta are no stranger to themselves. Now it's going to be that player from Squeaky that challenges. Spitty gets a double as Guardian bites back. And look at this, it's just going back and forth down to a 2v1 after Zeus has most definitely made it clear where he is. Gets that frag through middle, now being flashed and hunted down to 14. This is looking like a 5th potential round for Penta. And NaVi, they force straight on into this one. That's big for Penta. They recover the AWP and acquire an all-important 5th round. NaVi are going to be looking a little shaken with that one, down to just P250s at this point. And Penta starting strong on their CT side.
I mean, Guardian opting for an aggressive push up highway as well. NaVi knew that they had mid, but upon pushing to A, Penta traded into that one so well, and Guardian soon found himself completely on his own, released in that area. Tough to come back from that one now, of course. 5-1. NaVi showed promise with that first gun round coming up here, but well, Penta have been able to fight back.
I am seeing a match pause. Not sure if we've lost a man or we are just seeing a tactical one for NaVi, just catching their breath. I always question whether that's the wisest choice on a pistol, so let's just assume it's something else. But what we can kind of talk about is not only our timekeeping, but just Penta in general looking not too shabby. Spitty at the top of the scoreboard. I was worried that we may see a shadow of his former self now under the Penta banner once more, but no, seems to be continuing where he left off in Mouse Sports. There's plenty of familiarity in this lineup for Spitty as well. Important to know. A lot of these guys as well are super familiar, have played with each other as well on multiple occasions. I mean, I'm enjoying seeing Tarson come into this lineup as well. You know, as a rifler as well, he's had some solid performance so far in this game. Penta seem to be able to shore up their bomb sites quite nicely. Happy enough to give up mid as well to NaVi and be confident that they're... Yeah, right. Absolutely. And they stacked 3 and 2 on A and B, and they just managed to hold that really, really nicely. So NaVi, you know, their first few rounds, they were always trying to punch onto the sites on their own. Let's see if they go for that single side approach again. Yeah, of course, the one downside of kind of foregoing middle, which has kind of been the case ever since Tarson was taken down by Guardian, I think in that 3rd round bye, we did see a whole lot of kind of, I want to say like... problems with Zeus. Zeus has been the one kind of primarily pushing up mid-late. He's been finding a lot of frags fast. And talking of fast, look at them just charging straight on through into a main. Going to be hopefully grabbing 1, if not 2. They flash themselves in, and that's going to be a whole lot of very blind terrorists. He gets 3 with his M4, gets 5, excuse me, 4. Shatters my dreams as it's Tabson who saves the day with the final one. But just mowing NaVi down in their unarmored, very kind of blind mouse state. Great work from Spitty there as well. Obviously having to go to the P250 to get that final kill, but very aggressive from Penta. They're varying up their play a little bit here as well. Obviously knowing that NaVi were going to be on that eco, but they definitely made the right call there as well. Great push into A main. We'll have to see now what happens now at NaVi. They don't have an AWP here, of course, Guardian with the rifle, but plenty of nades for them as well, all armored up. Got a decent buy, so we'll have to see now. Crystal is always poking B main early, and Strux now got himself in vents. Yeah, kind of aggressive from them. 3 players stacked up towards B. Maybe expecting something different from NaVi. I actually quite like this from Penta. Changing up that 3 stack on A, now just 1 player on Spitty on A, with Tabson on highway and the rest just stacked up on B. I like this. Crystal aggressively peeking as well, expecting NaVi to try something different, and they're doing that straight back to them. NaVi's still prioritizing mid to a fair degree. Still flashes coming in there as well, and Strux is able to take down Zeus, and Crystal is still watching towards that B. The lone, who will be the lone man in a sec, but oh, great shot as sees this. Tarson crosses over and he managed to take his head off, but the revenge frag is there. It's a 3v3 now. Spitty rotates towards mid, finds Guardian. There's going to be more there for him, but Flamey is too good on the shot back. Yeah, that's going to be then what was a 2v2, but Crystal finds his 2nd of the round, and it all then falls to Edward. Does have the bomb, does have time, 40 seconds, as he's looking to kind of make his way in towards B. He's playing like he hasn't checked the site and almost expecting no one to be on the site. This is very vulnerable. I'm not sure what on earth he's thinking. He's going to be able to catch Strux, who was just playing beautifully behind the box, and that's going to be an easy one then for the Penta player. 2 frags for him, 2 frags for Crystal in that round, and Penta find their 7th. Well, it definitely seemed like a little bit of a miscalculation for NaVi on that round to not expect that player to be there, and it's strange because they haven't really worked towards B that much at all this game so far, so maybe it would help if he dotted his I's and crossed his T's a little bit on his next go here. But Penta, they're getting themselves out nicely in front here. And NaVi, I mean, last night they didn't win, but they played pretty well. This is seeming a little bit different. This is NaVi's cash, Mitch. This is, at this point, I mean, they have, you said already, a very kind of poor record on cash. And there's definitely no denying that they're not a team that favors that map. But you'd think by now they'd start to, you know, try something different. I say something different. This is nice from the T side. Gar going to be completely smoking out, locking out what you would expect to be the CT side. But look at this from Spiddy.
Great position, gets off of Red after getting that kill now. A lot of smoke over towards Squeaky Door. There are players filtering out of that now, and shots through the smoke for Penta. Strux takes out Edward. C's going straight towards Quad, but he gets shot in the face by Strux, and the bomb is on the ground as well. Zeus going down.
Now, Flamey. We saw what Simple could do from this position. I don't think he's going to be demonstrating the same, as it's going to be another for Penta, and quite a tidy one, just losing Tabson this time. It seems like NaVi aren't finding too much power with their Tech 9s this time, despite what they managed to do on Inferno just yesterday, and you can see there, 16 for Spiddy. Well, I was going to say the new addition, but there are two of them. Of course, Tarsin as well, not doing too bad for himself, sitting on 7. Ex-Killerfish, a team that kind of, no stranger to the like ESL Meisterschaft, but nothing kind of past that.
No, I mean, they had great success in that, don't get me wrong, they're all probably one of the top teams, but Tarsin getting his shot at more international exposure, I guess, now. And what do you do from if you're NaVi right now? Like, all of your attempts to really hit on towards those sites have been foiled. You've still been able to buy, you've been able to cobble together some stuff here. What do they go for?
It looks like they're going for a mid-play or a mid-pray. They're going to have to be praying to pick this one up, as it does look like they're going to be completely flashed out. Guardian going aggressive as well. He knows Crystal showed face, but Crystal has completely relocated to Connector. He got his Nikes on. And talking of Nike, Spiddy has gone for a run of his own. First, he's identified the bomb, but also, if he plays this perfectly, I think Edward's actually holding a pretty favourable angle for him. Spiddy on the way back, but Guardian's head has been destroyed by Kristen. He's now looking for 2. It's Spiddy. Patience does not quite net him the reward he was after, as we find ourselves in a 3v3.
Oh, Flamey does take down Spiddy, of course, but Strux responding on towards Seized here, and Zeus still on highway. This is Flamey caught up inside that Checkers room. Strux is low here, but he definitely knows exactly where to be looking. And Flamey is definitely surrounded here.
Yeah, that side play from Tarsin, just holding on the side very nicely, keeping his teammates safe. Strux the bait, and Crystal is going to be reeling in one for himself, because that's going to be Penta then close to double digits. NaVi having very little kind of very little room to maneuver, it seems, at this point. Everything they try does seem to be thrown back in their face by Penta at this point. Trying that mid-stack thrown back by Crystal's early tag, and of course later frag onto Guardian. It does feel like they're kind of trying different pages, and every single page seems to be a bit of a flop.
It wasn't the first time that Zeus has been caught in no man's land in this game either, so Penta now aggressively pushing out on B as well. They've got 2 players there. Tarsin coming forward, just throw the nades for Seized at least. Take a chunk off him, and Tabson takes control of A main as well. Penta's starting to get aggressive, a little bit of confidence now. The cogs are starting to turn in this machine that maybe hasn't had too much oil in recent times. Their debut in the Pro League has been fantastic so far. Tarsin flashed in Sun room, as we call it.
Yeah, you're all right with that one.
I'm okay.
You're worried about
I know some of my call-outs are really really strange coming from Aussie CS, but...
Well, I mean, you've got like 9 Diggities, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Pretty much. And when people are just saying that over and over again really loud, yeah, it can be really awkward. We call the auto sniper the Dak as well, but I digress here. Is Crystal looking towards mid? He's made a great shot last round towards Guardian there as well. Guardian is finding that his aggressive positioning is actually working against him in some of these scenarios. But Strux, he makes a push out of mid, but Zeus is there to meet him with a headshot.
Now NaVi are going to start to try and push where it hurts, and they're going to do just that. What? How is Spiddy not dead? Babysat 2 at some extent, but now he goes crazy, finds 2. And NaVi, battered and bruised, are going to be able to find that frag they needed on the side. Crystal now down, Orp now down, and it all falls to Tarsin, who location could not be more known. Yes, it's going to be a case of just molly for molly, as Edward scoops that one off his fallen comrade. And hang on a second, Tarsin, despite being
15 seconds.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned that they're going to go on this bomb retrieval mission, but they know exactly where he is. They're going to try and get it. He's so low, 1 point of health. Tarsin's going to be kicking himself, but no, he found Flamey instead, and now he's done a good lot of the work for this final frag. It's just going to be Edward, as he just needs to find one more bullet. Gets it, beautiful from Tarsin, as he gets 2 vital frags, as well as that defuse and the AWP if Crystal needs it. Very, very comfortable then for the Penta player, as they find 10.
He was definitely up against it, and I mean, obviously we still needed to see the bomb planted. There was 15 seconds left, but Tarsin held beautifully from that position as well. Some shots through the smoke, maybe a little bit fortunate, obviously, to take his opponent down to 1 health, but confidently pushing towards that side, taking it by the horns and getting the job done.
And in that pressure scenario as well, being aware of the bomb's location, the time, a lot of that kind of coming down to a little bit of experience, it seems, then, for him. As let's see then if NaVi can put a second on the board before the end of the first half.
Wow, man, that's Better late than never, I guess, now as NaVi set up yet again. Bomb to mid. Gonna leave it. Play something more default this time, and again, just try and make some picks and hope things don't go pear-shaped on them here, as Edward is the man on boost this time with the AK. Look towards him, some shots coming out. He gets tagged heavily down to 14.
Yeah, and there is just a wall of NaVi. They quite literally just spread across the entirety of Cash, trying to find an entrance, and look who provides it. No surprises there. Flamey on to the All-Star, it seems. Spiddy sitting quite high on the scoreboard for Penta. Crystal, though, catches Seas through smoke. Seas has been the one man that they throw at B quite casually quite a few of these rounds, and Zeus, in the meantime, did find Tarsin. So, NaVi have the advantage, but they do not have any intentions to get that bomb down anytime soon.
They do have immense control over the A site right now, with Flamey, of course, in A long. Zeus is holding Highway. Well, Tabson has to do just this, push up with 8 health and hope to try and get a foothold on that A site, but no, Zeus is going to deny him that. And now Crystal trying to work through mid. Guardian's there, but Crystal takes his opposite number down. 2v3 situation. Crystal's going to aggressively push on this one.
Yeah, this is interesting. Edward was taking the bomb towards B until that frag. Now Crystal's making a whole lot of noise. You need to check quad, otherwise that's going to be one very dead AWP. He's down. And then falls to Strux. Can he follow in his teammates' footsteps? There was a 1v2 just the round prior for Penta. Now he has to do one better.
1v3 for the man now. The bomb is at A, of course, and NaVi will get that one down. So bit of pressure for the man. He's just going to work his way into A long. So the door will give his position away. He has to rely for a bit of a burst of bullets here and maybe cut things down to a 2v1 or even a 1v1. He's got to take these one at a time. Flamey also going to head towards Highway. Strux, you've got to weigh up your options right now. You've got to hope there's someone there at Forklift and you can pick them up, but time is running out. Strux has got to move now.
Yeah, he just wants to try and catch someone on the X, and he will do just that. Flamey not going to get the second, as it was Zeus to pick up the second for NaVi. Much needed then for them. 4 in that round for Zeus. Trying to live up to that godlike name, and I mean, he is sitting quite high on the scoreboard as well. Look at him go. 12 for him. Then you look at the bottom side. See, he's just picking up 2. He has been quite relentless in his pursuit of frags on B, and I think maybe it may be time to scratch that idea. All he's really found has been Crystal's AWP. Yeah,
I mean, NaVi clearly not firing on all cylinders right now. It's seeing seized all the way down there with only 2 frags to his name after 12 rounds. Definitely tells some of the story here for NaVi, and they're just not winning some of those 1v1s, and they're not trading into these sites effectively at all. So let's see what Guardian can see if he can open things up here as he is warping out from B-Main. Crystal usually likes to poke there, but this time was Tarsin going for a bit of a strafe, and here comes NaVi. They're going to push in towards this one. Flashes going straight in towards that site. Smoke up as well. They're going to push, but Strux is there to meet Zeus. We're about to get a second. Flamey backs up. I don't know why he didn't know that Strux would be there, and he'll get 2 for his trouble.
A little bit of a miscommunication potentially, absolutely. But the bomb is loose, and oh, Guardian is on the hunt. He knows there's going to be at least one man on that side. He goes to look towards headshot, takes one into the body of Spiddy, and now Tarsin is the man to try and keep this site safe. Crystal, in the meantime, was doing work, and now NaVi just have to operate with just one. Another, this time for Tabson. Guardian has to go crazy now. 1v3 necessary in order to tick off round 3 for the CIS team. That is Vincere. He is going to be hunting now on towards Tarsin. He caught a glimpse through headshot, plays it beautifully. Very smart from him. And I think he's only been tested about 2 or 3 times, if I kind of roll my mind back, on B, but every single time he's kept it under control.
Very dependable right now. There's no doubt about it. He's just getting it done. 11 and 5 as well is definitely nothing to turn your nose up at. Guardian, again, unable to make ends meet, unable to connect the shots as well. And he always seems to be, in that role, the last guy on the map as well, but it's super, super hard to work in that kind of situation, and the pressure starts to build up. Penta 11 and 2 over NaVi. It's a huge lead now as we head into our 14th round, and a couple more rounds on Penta. Well, they're laughing already, to be honest. It's a great start to this game.
Yeah, for sure, and NaVi kind of demonstrating that they can still struggle on cash against the team here, very recently formed, very fresh, and off the back of a recent loss as well. And as you highlighted, in the meantime, though, Tabson has dealt with Flamey. Edward bites back with his deagle, but look at the damage done to him as well. He's down to 5. That molly could very well be the end of him. It is, as there is a fried Edward lying in Squeaky. And now the remaining members of NaVi are actually kind of leaving and lingering with that bomb towards middle. Not yet willing to commit. I think that decision's going to be made for them, though, as Zeus does get taken out of the running.
Tarsin coming forward there on B does manage to secure that kill. We do see the Spiddy was quite low on Highway here, so no more little tricky pokes to mid for him for the moment. Cease forced to back away, only with the Galil in hand, and Guardian gone through vents. A great shot towards Strux in heaven. Can he make the second on towards Tarsin? He has to navigate this one expertly here. As Cease wants to join him, he has to connect though over towards Tarsin in Sunroom. He's going to push this one with the Galil out, and he does pick him up. 2v2 now. Penta have the tools. They've got a grenade, they've got a flash on them as well. And Spitty trying to hold from heaven. Such an aggressive position for someone so low, and Cease will take him down.
They really trusted Cease in this one, gave him the Galil. It was the only rifle in play for NaVi, and now Crystal is pushing straight on in. He's going on the aggress. Guardian takes him down, and NaVi finding a much-needed round in the ashes of a buy. I mean, they had very little, just the Galil and armor for Cease. Very few real rifles in play. I just think it was pistols for the majority of the rest. And now that's going to put them in fantastic stead to pick up this final round. Look at Penta's money.
2 apiece there for Cease and Guardian in that round. Those two really put it on their backs. It was a great push over towards the B side as well. Some very tentative situations they navigated quite nicely. 15th round coming up here. Obviously, Penta now pushed on towards their pistols. Deagles for all, or at least most of them. Armor as well, and some grenades. Let's see what they can do with it.
I like this from Spitty. He is looking to just get an early pick. Try and cut them down. Not going to happen. He does get away safely. It was a question of just trying to give him some sort of early advantage, but no. NaVi are just going to shred them. 3 very swift frags, and now the remaining members of Penta are going to be meeting out an all too familiar fate, or not. Strux onto Cease. It was AKV P250, and looks like the P250 was enough. But with the bomb down, I think NaVi are well and truly aware that this will be their 4th. They've got a lot to think about, though, going into that second half. 11-4 for Penta, a very sterling start for the German roster. And it's going to be coming down to what NaVi then can turn around on their defensive side. Yes, Penta are going to have to come to them, but I'm not going to lie, for me, Mitch, it's all eyes on that pistol. Absolutely.
This is going to be very, very important. NaVi need some momentum heading into this next half. I mean, losing the Penta, obviously, you could see that on the score, but it's going to put NaVi in a very dangerous position. But the fact of the matter is, going back into the last half, NaVi are losing buy round after buy round after buy round. Quite simply, they're just being outplayed there as well. They're not trading into bomb sites effectively. Guardian, well, he's trying to play aggressively. He's trying to open things up here as well, but he's being caught very frequently by, by Tarsin, and especially, of course, his opposite number in Crystal. So I'm interested to see if there's maybe a change of paradigm as NaVi approaches the next half.
And here we go then. It's going to be our second half kicking off. Can Penta start with a bang? A win against NaVi would be a very nice little feather for their cap to start off their Pro League debut. And so kicking this one off, let's see how NaVi choose to structure this one. And actually, armor Kevlar across the board is their decision for this CT side. Penta, quite similar really, just the utility in the hands of Strux and Crystal, as they're going to be looking to try and forge a path onto a site. Early damage is done. It's Tabson down to 64. And they're going to be, oh my god, damage is fighting back. Actually, Guardian pushing up aggressively, and it's going to cost him.
Yeah, one to the head for him, not what he wants at this stage of it. Tarsin now pushing aggressively towards Zeus.
How is he in there?
Not sure, actually. Firing that Glock off like crazy. What? But he does eventually get the better of him there as well. Tarsin's so aggressively pushing forward.
Can we look at Tarsin for a second?
He just took down Edward as well. He's going so deep right now, but now Flamey trying to do some work from Sunroof. Does manage to take down Spitty. Tarsin stuck past him, but he's keen to make amends for that one there as Tabson drops to Cease in the mid. We've got a 2v2 here, Alex. Tarsin goes where he pleases, clearly.
Tarsin must have gone through vents, through checkers, out towards their CT spawn. Behind Flamey and Guardian, who are still in Sunroom. Crazy stuff. As this does slow down then. 45 seconds. The bomb loose, and it does come down to Penta. But look how aggressive NaVi are. Cease pushed up as well. They have really got to be cautious here, and I don't know whether it's something that Penta are expecting.
Cease knows. There's some movement there through mid, so we know Tarsin's probably on the move. Oh. With that bomb, going to head towards A, and it's a great idea, of course. No one really at A at the moment, but this could be a bit tough here. Strux might get caught rotating through. Cease can hear him. He's going to have the shot set.
He does, and he does not fluff his lines. Important from Seized. Crucial frag, and falls down to a half-health Tarsin in order to acquire this round. He did it before. See if he can do it again.
B2K. Let's see if it's going to be enough for him now, as we're going to have NaVi coming from multiple different directions. That's a big hit towards Tarsin now, and Cease to come around the corner. Tarsin cannot connect. And NaVi start things off like they would have hoped. 4
for Seized in that round. An incredible play from him with the P2K, just slaughtering what was a nice plan from Penta, or a nice play from Tarsin. I'm going to have to try and see exactly how he went so unnoticed. He went into checkers, had a little bit of an exchange, then proceeded to push all the way to get that early frag towards, you can see on the map there, top left, he's all the way getting the frag there on towards Edward at CT, while his teammates are mowing them down elsewhere. So, strong start for NaVi. They needed that pistol round, otherwise things could have got a little bit out of control, and Penta not opting for the Kevlar into the second round.
Oh, we do see it, of course. Deagle here, P2K, and sorry, P250 should I say, and a Tech 9 here for Penta. Let's see what they can do with this one now. Does imply a little bit of aggression as they are heavily grouped towards that mid.
Now, just all actually grouped towards mid. You weren't lying. Not one man really straying from the path. It's going to come down to Edward. I can see I can see dollar signs in his eyes. This could go horribly wrong for Penta. They are at risk of this, of course. 2 SMGs in play for Na'Vi, and they're going to be looking to connect as much as they can with it. It's Zeus who crawls from behind. Flamey follows suit as 3 Penta members fall in very quick succession. And now it's just Tarsin and Strux who are reeling from that aggressive play. And doesn't look like it's going to be an ace for Na'Vi, as Tarsin does provide us with some Deagle plays. I don't think my heart can take too much more with the Deagle, and it is just going to be falling there to Strux. He knew he was low, wasn't able to clinch that one, and that's going to be then the second.
Na'Vi now putting them together. It's been a good start for them on this half. The pistol, of course, was where it all started. They managed to put that one together now, and of course, you can see Na'Vi starting to wake up just a little bit more. Penta now can buy.
Yeah, thanks to that plant. That plant in the first round was crucial from Tarsin. And, I mean, the aggressiveness from Na'Vi did kind of cause a little bit of a slip up, which enables this round buy. And they're not looking too shabby. It does come down to what Tarsin can do with his nades and how Penta choose to structure this one. There's an aggressive play from presence from Na'Vi. It's Edward who has pushed up, and I'm not too sure how well this could play out. They are stacking up heavily. They're expecting a whole lot in middle, and Penta just quite reminiscent of what Na'Vi were doing at the start of their T rounds.
You can see 3 in mid for Na'Vi right now. Edward Guardian, of course, Zeus out. Could be a boost here as well. Going to be looking straight towards Strux, who may be none the wiser at this stage. But Tabson, look at him, sitting back, waiting for that shot. Does take down Guardian. That's a key element of Na'Vi's attack. The Spearhead being taken out of the equation now. Smoke continues to billow out of mid. And Edward looking for an opportunity to get in there. He does take down Tarsin, maybe. He biting off a little bit more than he could chew. Edward just going to duke it out here in mid, but Tabson and Crystal combining very nicely. Only 2 players left for Na'Vi here, and they are split across the map.
I mean, this is a big test for Flame. He's surely only going to get 1, if that. Crystal with a whisker of health, just 6 left for him, but his heart's still beating. C's probably not going to be the same case for him. 23 points of health and a dream against 4.
Bomb goes down. Care of Tabson. C's just hold up in mid right now. Eyes towards the A side. 3 players already stacked up on B for him to go through as well. It's going to be a very, very difficult situation for him to navigate.
He's just crossing his fingers, crossing his toes, and trying to get something away from Penta, as well as keeping his life in this one. I think actually Strux isn't going to check it. That's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered. Does he even go for the exchange? Oh, okay, seized. Be still my beating heart. That does mean they know exactly where he is. He's going to go for a second one, throwing his rifle to the wind and making a very minor impact into the Penta money.
Yeah, I mean, he took one off Penta, sure, but losing his own there. Bit of a fluff there. You could actually see him after that shot. A bit of frustration in the mouse movements. Of course, now we have 12-6. Penta with their first round of the half here on that bye. Obviously, after getting their bomb plant in the second round, definitely helped them a lot here. Let's see how Na'Vi respond to this one as well. They must keep Penta down. They can't let them really gain too much momentum, too much confidence. Zeus and Guardian going to go for Deagles. Only Zeus with armor, though. Yeah, so it does seem like Penta have found some traction early into the second half. It's much needed if they want to be able to pick up this win. I don't want to dub it a surprise win, but an unlikely win, considering their newly formed state and, of course, their opponents. As if we're not mentioning the map. Molly thrown out. They are trying to clear out mid. It's going to be Seized, who's forced out of position. You can see he is going to try and flash his way out, try and make an impact in middle. He does catch a glimpse of one, and actually doesn't choose to take it. As it is just going to be Zeus who has armor, and he's going to take a bit of a beating. Crystal just shooting fish in a barrel, and those fish are continuing to fall. Guardian and Flamey then left with it. This is going to be 13 for Penta. Unlucky for some, but just 3 away from 16. Absolutely, he's getting very, very close. For Na'Vi, though, Flamey gets cheeky shots on towards Tabson. We'll be able to dispatch of him there. Crystal, just Crystal things as usual. Trying to jump down on top of him there as well. 13-6. We're getting close to that magic number here, and Penta must be pinching themselves right now as well. Na'Vi, we didn't want to overstate the impact of this being cache and this not being a map they really like, but it's clear to see that there's something missing from the equation for Na'Vi. Yeah, and there has been for a long time, and let's see if Penta continue to push where it hurts. I have a horrible feeling that they could get ahead of themselves, and let's just see if that does come into fruition, because they're going for something different. Look at this, straight towards B. It's going to come down to Crystal finding an entry once that smoke does clear out, and that's if they even choose to wait for that defensive smoke thrown out by the CTs. They are making it relatively clear that there were numbers on B, but in fact, they've changed their minds.
And instead, going back to that default, keeping the bomb way back, waiting for some aggression from the NaVi boys.
Yeah, they're just trying to poke and prod at NaVi right now and get them in some disadvantageous positions. Edward has a UMP there, so he's not exactly kitted out. Not a heck of a lot of utility for NaVi right now as well. They are definitely scrabbling funds together to try and mount a comeback here. But PENTA slowly moving towards A. And through mid as well. We see Tarsin was going to go towards long. He is bringing back a little bit now. Crystal, aggressive as always. Going to be coming forward here with the AWP in hand and see what he can sort of dig out. He goes for a cheeky one through the smoke, but sees he's up in that little boost spot as well. He must be careful of that position.
Yeah, I think Crystal's lucky to be getting away completely unscathed from that one. As PENTA have 40 seconds. The clock is going to be starting to go against them if they do not find some leeway anytime soon. Bomb still loose. Crystal just double checking exactly to its location, and you can see the NaVi numbers are so flexible right now. 2A, 1 mid, and 2B. Finally, some bloodshed. It's 2 for PENTA. That's big. Molly forcing Flamey out of position. This B site's going to be vulnerable, and it all comes at once. Now then, down to Guardian. He has only found 1 on B, but that's all he's going to be given as Tarsin does connect. And now all of a sudden, NaVi are down to just 1. Very, very nice from PENTA. They did not make their intentions to be clear until the last second.
Seas has to save. He doesn't really have any option here to go forward. NaVi spent a lot of what they had left on that round. You can see economically next round is not going to be great for them. And it was a great push towards B as well. Great burst play from PENTA. You know, as soon as they set up, they spent a lot of that round just gaining valuable information, and then bam, straight out the gates, perfect Molotov and smoke cover towards that B
Yeah, and that's also a demonstration of the power of mid on Cash, or Cache. I'm going to go ahead and go for Cache this time, yeah. just embracing some Australian roots that may be hidden there, but hang on a second. Seas is going to potentially lose his rifle. He makes it clear where he is. It comes to a 1v1. Fortunately, he is the one to thrive, but saving his rifle aside, you saw how quickly they were all sitting around red container, kind of lingering towards middle. Nothing too much said from PENTA, and then you blink and you miss it. They're through, they're into checkers, and those picks are starting to come in on B. That is the power of mid, and that's why NaVi puts so much emphasis on their T side in gaining control of middle.
Absolutely, the set plays executing really, really nicely here. NaVi, well, they're just going to force up here. We see 2 scouts and a UMP on Guardian. Seas will at least have the M4, of course, that he saved. Flamey on the FAMAS. A couple flashes here and there, but definitely nothing to be writing home about. They are just trying to push the envelope here, get some money in their pockets and try and hang on. Flamey, inside checkers here. No aggressive pushes this time from PENTA towards B. But they've got 2 players there. Tarsin and Crystal, obviously over on the A long side of things, just holding the push. NaVi, what's going on?
This is going to be a very, very last-ditch effort then from NaVi, as PENTA have made this one look easy. All onto Flamey, and there's absolutely no hope in hell. They put everything into this round. This does look like PENTA have started with a bang, and Flamey is going to be taken down just after the 1. Spiddy responsible for that. And I mean, NaVi got no money. PENTA, so much room to maneuver, and this very well could be a 16-6. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. 2 FAMAS, a Mag 7, a Deagle, and an M4 are what's going to be brought to this battle for NaVi in order to survive here in their first game of 3 in the Pro League.
They're going to use those guns, and they're even going to try and use the packing pellets they came with. Of course, Zeus with the Deagle. Oh, let's just see if they can make something happen here now. I think it was aggression that cost them last time. Tarsin, was that through smoke?
That most definitely was.
Lovely. On towards Edward there, just completely takes him out of it. And that's just going to add insult to injury if you're NaVi right now. Throwing their hands up in the air, Edward, as he sits back in his chair, looks on as the rest of your team try and make something out of this round.
And Tarsin picking up that kind of early pick and then just immediately throwing it back to Crystal's hands. Good already to see positive confidence in others with the AWP, and the damage just keeps getting done. Now all down to Seas, and PENTA most definitely have done it. Tarsin is again responsible for that frag, picks up 2 to end that one, and it looked like it was going that way for a while, Mitch. We refused to immediately believe it, immediately believe that, you know, the PENTA had brought something strong to this day and to this game. Good to see their debut in the Pro League.
The Pizza Fortune hype train has begun.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Very, very slightly. So yeah, that's going to be a really enthralling start, I think, to what's going to be an even more enthralling day of CS. And you can just look there at upper balcony. That's some metal work. And here's us. There we go. I wanted to make eye contact with you. That's all. That's what I wanted to do in order to just quickly kind of touch on what we learned from that game. First up, it has to be that NaVi's cash is still I was going to think of a rhyming word, but I can only think of nasty ones.
Well, it's looking weak. Oh, if you want to rhyme, that's fine.
That's what I was trying, yeah. I was trying something special, but it didn't work. But yeah, no, it's still really less than ideal.
Yeah, definitely. I think NaVi, they tried a myriad of different approaches as well to these bomb sites. You've got to hand it to PENTA as well, keeping a really cool nerve. And we don't have a great deal of information on I guess, what they've been up to in the last few weeks now, of course, leading up to their first game. But it seems like, obviously, the addition of Tarsin and Spitty seems to have worked out too very, very well. I mean, I'm seeing those two players as well featuring in some nice little highlights of that game.
Yeah, I mean, we have already seen quite a fair few highlights, and Tarsin right at the final round throwing out a shot through smoke to guide his team to victory. I want to see more of Tarsin, I think. That's going to be the motto of that one. Spitty, I know the man can play. We saw crazy stuff from him in Mouse Sports. Tarsin, a little bit more of a stranger to the limelight, and looking forward to seeing more from him as this league does progress. More games on the way, though, folks, and we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of time to talk about what's coming up next. It's going to be Titan versus NaVi. While we have some time, Mitch, how much have we seen from the new Titan with Scream? Like, for me, the first game I casted with new Scream was yesterday, and I saw a little bit of both sides.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot, to be honest. We really haven't. I mean, yesterday was not a great demonstration of the ability of Titan in general. I mean, there will be a settling time, as there is with all these players. And obviously, we often see these French players who are usually juggling players in between them as well, and maybe that might reduce that time somewhat there. But, I mean, it was very, very tough. It seemed like Fnatic just felt very comfortable against them. They seemed like they weren't pressured into making any mistakes. They dictated the flow and pace of the game, and JW just got to flow like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Yeah, I mean, all of them did, really. I mean, they played 3 games yesterday and only managed to pick up 1 win. This is going to be important for them then. We've seen NaVi are maybe going to be not in the best mindset after that Cash game. Like, we've tried something different on Cash, still doesn't work. Or maybe they're just like, we can veto it normally, we don't care about Cash. Whatever their mindset, they are going to be going up against the French team Titan over on Overpass. Looking forward to seeing how that one unfolds and to see if Titan can do better than their Fnatic result of just 2 rounds on that very map. We're going to find out answers to all of those questions, guys, after this.